Well, good morning. During the week, John usually shares a video every weekday, just diving a little deeper into the sermon content from the previous Sunday. And this week, I'm excited that I get to be a part of that. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Cody. I'm one of the pastors here. And this week, we're going to be recapping Daniel chapter 2 from the sermon that we called Prayer and Praise. And if you remember, in Daniel 2, Daniel experienced yet another difficult circumstance when the Babylonian wise men, Nebuchadnezzar had called them before him and asked them to tell him a dream that he had that was really disconcerting to him. And so the wise men went before Nebuchadnezzar and he said, "Tell me this dream and what it means." And they responded to him and said, "We can't do that. There's no one on earth that can tell you what your dream is and then what it means. So if you just tell us the dream, then we can tell you what it means." And Nebuchadnezzar wasn't having any of that. And so he ended up telling the wise men, "If you can't do this for me, then I'm going to tear your bodies limb from limb and burn your houses down." And they responded again, "No one on earth can do this. No one except the gods can do this for you." And so Nebuchadnezzar issued a decree saying all of the wise men of Babylon were to be put to death. And that included Daniel and Daniel's 3 friends. And so one of the king's guards showed up to Daniel's house and explained this all to Daniel and told him that the king had decreed that everyone was to be put to death. And if you remember, we talked about how Daniel responded to that difficult situation in 3 ways. He responded through going before God with his friends in prayer, praising God for who he is and what he's done in Daniel's life, and then proclaiming God and his faithfulness to the king when he interpreted the dream for him. And so I want to ask you this week, have you ever been in the middle of a difficult circumstance? On Sunday, I talked about how I got my Bronco stuck in the snow, and I was thinking through my life, and there have been lots of different situations where I found myself in that were difficult, and really in a lot of those situations, it was impossible for me. I had tried to do anything in my power to get out of it, and it seemed like it wasn't enough. And I remember a specific time in my life where I was at college at Nebraska Christian College, and I had just really been experiencing a time of burnout, and I was uncertain if continuing on the path that I was going on was the right thing for me to do, and it just led me to just be really unmotivated in school and burned out, and I stopped attending classes and just kind of gave up. And I got to a part in my life where I was really questioning God and what he had planned for me. And I ended up getting kicked out of school and having to take a semester off. And I remember sitting in my dorm room and just really seeking God and crying out to God a little bit and asking him what he had planned for me, and really praying and seeking his guidance on what was next in my life. And it was really interesting because almost immediately after I had done that, sitting in my dorm room, I got a text from someone I knew that said, "Hey, what are your plans for this summer?" And I said, "Well, really, I don't know. I'm going to go home and try and figure things out." And he said, "Well, I have this internship open. Would you be interested?" And I can, starting in that moment, look back across my life and really see how God had lined things up exactly how he had planned, and really set me on a path throughout all of that. And it wasn't because I reached out to him in that moment, but I believe that God had a plan from the start. And he used my stupidity, my getting myself into this situation, and worked it out for good. And it's been amazing to look back over the last 15 years and see how God has just ordered my steps and put one thing after the other, a person in my life, a situation in my life, where it really helped me realize that God was in control. And so I want to ask you, what challenges are you facing? What are the things that are going on in your life where it seems like things are outside of your control? Are you trying to handle it alone? How can you invite God into the situation? For Daniel, we saw that he got before God with his friends and he really sought God's guidance through prayer. So how can you invite God into the situation that you find yourself in? And then as you go about the rest of your week and as you go about the rest of today, how can you incorporate the concepts of prayer, praise, and proclaiming God throughout your daily life? How can you start each and every day really getting before God in prayer? How can you, throughout the course of your day, praise God for the things that he's doing in your life and really for who he is? And then how can you tell other people about who Jesus is by just simply proclaiming God and the things that he's done for you? So I look forward to digging deeper into these ideas with you and the sermon ideas throughout the rest of this week. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about specifically the power of prayer in your life. So praying for you this week, and we'll see you tomorrow.